Welcome to Vitalify Unplugged. You're listening to your hosts, Gree and Steph.
In this podcast, we talk about everything health and well-being, science and technology, and ancient wisdom.
This is for the quirky humans navigating the messy middle, looking for the path to true vitality.
It's for the curious minds and tired bodies looking for clarity, energy, and inspiration that works your way.
Welcome back to Vitalify Unplugged.
Hey, it's your friend Gree, intuitive AI and tech whisperer, 60 plus full throttle and talk energy bunny, chasing fun, fairness, and freedom.
And I'm Steph, holistic nurse, soulful scribbler, magnetic mama, dancing through midlife with truth, magic, and messy, wild-hearted freedom.
Today, we're talking about something many people quietly experience, but don't always have language for: identity. Not the roles we play, not the titles we hold, but who we are when those things begin to shift, soften, or fall away. Because at some point, whether through midlife, burnout, parenting changes, career transitions, or unexpected life events.
So today we're joined by someone very close to my world, my husband, Dr. Aruna Liyanage. And Aruna is a GP, a skin cancer clinician, an aged care focused doctor with more than 20 years experience across Australia, the UK, and Sri Lanka. He is also one of the founding directors of Top End Medical Centres in Darwin. But beyond the titles, what makes this conversation especially meaningful is that his perspective has been shaped not only by experience, but by challenge, accountability, and rebuilding. He has walked through significant professional setbacks, done the work to rebuild both his career and his sense of self, and now works closely with people in aged care where identity often shifts in very visible ways. So this conversation feels deeply human, not only professional.
So, Aruna, before we dive in, we'd love to meet you beyond the titles. Who would you describe who you are right now beyond being a doctor?
Right now, I'm a person. I think I have achieved what I have thought achieved when I was a boy or a young man and even a university student. I think I come to a place that ball is in my court. I think it is. I feel like it is a good stage to be in, and currently, I think I am just Dr. Aruna Liyanage, or I think Aruna Liyanage. I'm just me, but
Good.
don't have anything to prove.
But and knowing you, I guess I can observe how you've changed, but how has that answer changed for you over the years?
Over the years, I born to I was born in Sri Lanka to a middle class family. I'm the youngest in the family, only boy, and I had three elder sisters. My mom, she's very strong-willed, and dad equally strong-willed, and he's no more, but he's not very rational, and he thinks he was rational, and but mom was well always had conflict. So I think through that conflicts and the struggles with day-to-day money, basically my dad, even though he's a all right and public servant, and mother, she's used to be a nurse and a senior nurse. Their financial management was terrible. So we lived at that time, even at the age of 6, I identified I could have done that better. So uh, I wanted to get out of that sort of constant struggle, feeling feeling that everything is a struggle, but I knew the path isn't that, it's fun or joy or anything. It was a challenge, and I wasn't most what the student in the class. I was like the lower end, but I didn't give up because everyone said I was nothing. So I thought of then I started. I mean, how could I start? I started reading a lot those days. All I read was all characters like you know Abraham Lincoln, it's a Churchill, and all those biographies I read. And because maybe I didn't like myself as me, so I think I started acting those characters in my head. So
Mm.
those when I was reading about Sir Winston Churchill, I was at Western Front and doing wars and in the British Parliament. So basically, I was the Sir Winston Churchill. So I act that person and I act the other day, and then I act different. I think maybe that may be the reason I still do have some split personalities, which I identify.
Who doesn't? I guess that kind of leads me to as a fellow global traveler or inhabitant.
Yeah,
You've lived across different countries and
yeah,
cultures. How do you feel that has shaped your sense of belonging, both in the world and within yourself?
yeah. I think, I always thought that, so I belong to this world.
Good.
That's what I always thought. I mean, I wanted to. I lived in an island. I always wanted to see the world. In the second-hand experience, I heard about racism and everything. Then I question myself. Any race has got good people and bad people. You know, they're either good or bad. Uh, I thought that okay, I'm going out of the country, and my friend said, they're racist, and others said, then I'm not going to be that person that who feels sorry for yourself, If they call me names, if they call, yeah, that's their problem. I go my journey. So that's the that was my plan, and that's I always that belonging, self belonging. See, I always thought I belong to myself, and so uh, I do have friends, and actually, I do throughout my life. I have one good friend. So he's totally, I mean, he's like my brother, but we're totally different people. Uh, whatever I do, and when I come and talk to him, whether I was right or wrong, and to him, I'm right. Right? It,
Well, that's a good friend, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So he didn't. He doesn't. He just basically he know me, and then he doesn't argue. And then he basically says stuff as well. And yeah, I think that's very. I'm not a very huge. The person with the huge uh, cohort of friends and all. I didn't need that basically, but I had a lot of colleagues that I associate, and I not many friends. Yeah.
Can I add, Aruna, though, when we were talking about this the other day, you made a really what I thought was very important comment about self-acceptance for belonging. That you were saying when you accept yourself, that's how you feel like you belong, or something like that.
Mm.
Can you remember what we were discussing? Because I
I
thought
think
that
that
was really,
no, yeah, I
really.
think yeah. Sometimes I this language doesn't come. Yeah, I mean accept. Uh, yeah, that's what I said earlier. I am my own man, so that means I accept me as I am. So I'm not, we know that it's not perfect, but so once we come to the peace with yourself, I think that is, that's what the belonging is, I think. Did that what I said? Yeah.
It was along those lines. It was, yeah, a really, you said it much more poetic the other day, but that's okay. We'll move on.
Oh, you need to carry a recorder at all
Yeah,
times for the wisdom.
right. On Vitalify Unplugged here, Gree and I like to talk about wealth in a much broader sense than money. When you hear the word wealth, what does that mean to you?
I think wealth is money is a part of it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wealth is it's like the experience of life, you know, that you have um, gained while living, and expose him to different challenging situation, non-challenging situation, travels, and all sort of things. I think that's that, and the knowledge that you have in the in the field that you're passionate about, and I think, and that's wealth, and also I think your family is wealth as well. Your family, and so I think that's that to me that's my wealth. Yeah.
I love that because it kind of opens up this idea that identity and how we relate to ourselves um, and the people around us is a form of inner wealth as well. So that's really cool. But today we're exploring identity as a form of inner wealth because when life changes, as we've talked about through our roles or our capacity or challenges, identity often has a shift to. And this conversation is about what happens when that version of you that once worked no longer quite flies, and how belonging can move from something we seek externally to something that we build within ourselves.
Mm. So in medicine and in life more broadly, there's often an expectation to be the one who holds everything together. How much of your identity was shaped by being the responsible one?
I think it started first. It started when I start as a doctor, as a GP, and running solo, and then all of a sudden that you come to this world that okay, that one-on-one as a doctor patient, and whereas before we had my bosses and immediate boss and big boss, and I'm on a part of it. I'm a team player, and once it comes to the when the responsibility the comes to you, it's scary. It's basically you go into an uncharted territory. So that
Mm,
then you got the responsibility of the person in front of you, and you got what's a legal framework, and then the rules and regulations,
mm,
and then the question yourself, the whether you're right or wrong. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. So then how do you do? I mean, if you think everything, then there's basically if you have to tick all the boxes, then you can't do your things. So then you come into the second gear, that just have a conversation about uh, what we can achieve. And then basically you build up I mean, I'm talking about as a doctor, then build up trust and following. And then basically all of a sudden a lot of people started relying on you. Uh, and some people relying on you emotionally, and some
mm.
people relying on you as I have to fix everything. And then
Yeah.
that's a daunting task because, expectations, and then after that, criticisms and everything. And then you just, over the time, when you're exposed to those things over and over, so you become numb, actually.
Mm, mm.
So, so
Yeah.
that is, that's how I feel like. Then after that, and but I think I handled that well. And next thing is the business. Then I turned into this field into a business. Just I started the clinics. So and, uh, we identify you know the strength of everyone. So I thought that all right. So that even though I don't have any uh, uh, experience by doing any business or anything. So I thought that I have to be the front man.
Yeah.
So I appoint myself as a front man. And so the thing is that then I kept going. I I knew that lot of people, those people rely on me, rely on my conduct, and rely on. So I actually like that, and then
That's good.
addicted to that. I was addicted to that. I think it had done good and bad, I would
Mm.
say.
I can only imagine. I mean, I did want to study medicine until I discovered technology or software, but but I can only imagine how that pressure and that sort of responsibility lies on anybody in caregiving or medical roles where you're actually responsible for people's health and wellness, and that can you know can stop being something that you do and start becoming who you are. I was curious about how, because you kind of alluded a little bit to it, it's a bit daunting and things like that. Is there an element of over functioning? And what does that look like in those with that sort of pressure on you? And how does it shape identity, I guess?
I think I realized that how I through the experience, uh, if someone cornered me, and if
Mm.
I don't have any way out, and that's when I fire. I actually sometimes I create that drama by myself because I want to get cornered. So
So, y-
once I get cornered, then I think I might have some undiagnosed ADHD or something like that. But I think when I
Welcome
was
to our world. Yeah.
in my corner, I don't have anything, any sort of room to think few. Five things at once. So I focus on one thing. I focus on yeah. So that's when I perform. I think I thrived on uh, that sort of pressure. But then again, now I come into the other side as well. I don't have any pressure now. And which one is better? Uh, there is, I think there's a good in everything. Yeah, good in everything.
So I don't know that belonging is something you crave
Mm,
as such. Is it? Like you
that's
don't,
it.
yeah, you don't feel like you have to connect with everybody and everything where you are. But I do think you like to be needed. And
I think we do.
yeah, we all do, and that's a human thing, right? But does it make it harder to know who you are without the role? So you had some career challenges, and
Yeah,
your life took a bit of a turn, and there was this period where you weren't
I
Dr.
did.
Ron anymore.
I
And
was.
so how did you redevelop that sense of self and belonging
Yeah, I
in that
think
kind
Or
of
identity,
crisis
even.
it's
and
Identity.
a faith.
identity,
I think faith. It's through the faith.
faith?
Yeah, faith.
So elaborate, share with us what you
Faith is,
did to.
I'm a Buddhist.
Hmm.
I was born as a Buddhist, but I don't think that uh, I knew about Buddhism, but I wasn't really religious, to be honest. So I thought, kind of thought I achieved this huge empire and everything. I'm like a god. So then all of a sudden, everything went on and just we lost everything, right? I'm just the person that um, I'm not a doctor anymore, right? So my license, and then uh, I was like, um, I have. Then I did admin. So when I was listening to conversations and all, like, um, you know, patients asking questions, and then I'm listening these back and forth answers of the doctors and the patients, and then uh, how badly they managed and everything. And I felt like, there you go, you have the greatest pianist here, but he's not allowed to play. Or the and so I think that then again that I thought, right, that you're not pianist anymore. Who you are then? You're not. No, I didn't know who am I. And when that I story short, so I turned into the Buddhism, actually the doctrine of the Buddhism. In the Buddhism that I thought, basically what it says is no one to help you. You help yourself. So we believe in Buddhism, we believe in karma. Everything because of whatever the karma we have done in the past. So it comes now. So you pay it. Then again, when it goes to the deep Buddhism, and so you are coming into this place like there is no person called you. So I kind of then console myself through that. So it's no no, there's no person called you. It's basically it is a situation. You is the situation. It's but you basically, and you put that situation into a life. That's the individuality. I think everything. It's everyone is acting. Then I realized being doctor is only a role. There's one role, and there's a role as well. I mean, what's that other role? Another role is I'm a father of very young kids, and then and a husband, and then I'm an Asian man, so I just basically my perception as a man, and you have to provide for the family, and, and at the same time, I lost my both knees to the arthritis, so I was living with the 10 out of 10 pain, and no job. Every day is bad news. So that's bad news. Come about 1.5 years. I think that defines you, your character, because it's how it's easy to go away, run away from all the responsibilities. I mean, that's the easiest part. Easiest part is, to me, I think maybe even, the killing yourself or anything and running away is very easy. It's easy. And then at the end, and it's like, is it heroic, or is it worth doing it? It's not, just like you I think my identity that after, the facing all these consequences that, I mean, those consequences, it happened. I was wrong as well. I was wrong. I wasn't right. And then I realized that it's because of my action. So I got this. All right. And then, so I get the ownership, and uh, and move on to the next. I think to me, the identity is that if you get the ownership of um, your actions, uh, and act within that truth, I think that's your own identity. Why do you say then you lost your identity. You lost your identity is that
Momentarily.
you're trying to act somebody else. I think I did act. I mean, my heroes, but that doesn't mean that just like I think. I read those days. I read the Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita says, so
That's
it's
Hinduism, right?
yeah. It's okay to Krishna says it's okay to live your own imperfect life than imitating someone else's life. So that's then that those 3 to 4 words and the make that's my identity. So I just basically back my all right. I don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that and sharing the sort of journey into faith or whatever. I guess I don't really know that much about Buddhism and Hinduism, but I do know a little bit about it, and it feels much more like a philosophy and a way of life than a lot of other more stringent religions. I think religion in itself is something that's very personal, and for me, or spirituality is something personal that you can share or not if you like. But I think it's I appreciate you sharing that journey of, and I did want for the listeners to say Aruna is a doctor again. It was just a period there that that platform fell away. But I guess you. Would you say that it helped you kind of realize I'm also a businessman, I'm also an administrator, I'm also a dad, I'm also a husband? There are different things in life to look after, which I think you've kind of shared a little bit about. But my question would more be, despite the hardship of it, are you a bit thankful that you had that opportunity to discover those other parts of your identity?
I think looking back, I didn't really enjoy the 5 years that I had, right?
Yeah.
But looking back,
I'm sure you didn't.
looking back, I think I now I see it as a blessing. As a blessing, I think I found myself. I found my limitations and number that is very important. So and it is actually, but still now sometimes my drive takes me to some ridiculous places. Then again, it's at really want. I mean, we were nearly going to do some ridiculous thing, and then basically come back into perspective just about half an hour ago. So
Hence why we're late. Sorry, Gary.
I'm used to I'm used to working with Stephanie, and it's always just in time or just after time, really.
yeah, I think that break. I learned that break. I think I feel like some people they naturally know what the break is, but for people like us, some they need that sort of harsh, the lesson in the life. I think that's why everything happened, whether it's good or bad, you have to accept it and move on with it. I don't think it's not necessarily on, but you got to uh, they accept those things. I remember the main thing is we were so worried about what other people think about us. That's basically huge thing. So I listened to this former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. He was addressing the Oxford Union, and he said that people, it's a perception of the people that he remember that he won the World Cup, and then and then came into Pakistan and played the cricket match, and people were just, the flag, Lion of Lahore, and then his ego was so big, and then, and then he just came into bat and got out for duck, and everyone booed him, the Lion of Lahore, and whole
I know it.
crowd. And then, then about one day after, he took 5 wickets, and the same crowd that cheering for him. And it's like people's perception. People just forget things like drop of the second. So why are you worry about what other people think? You go on your agenda. That's something that I really make. That's because sometimes people think that we are so worried about what other people, other person A think about me, person B think about me. That's what people think. I feel judged. Of course, people judge you, right? You're out there to be judged. That's my perception. I got nothing against that. You can judge, and that's their right. So then again, are you going to judge it? No. So of course, they can judge you, but who cares?
Yeah. And so, in terms of going back to medicine and your perception of what a good doctor is, and how has that changed for you from rebuilding and reconnecting with your profession? And you had your old identity as a doctor, and now you've got this new one. What's changed in that?
That changes that you don't have to be a fixer for everything. So there is a situation that comes, and that, for instance, someone comes with an issue. If you don't have any idea about what's happening, then your ego comes, and your ego says, please don't say that you don't know anything, because this patient's gonna judge you, right? And then, so my reputation as a best doctor, or my reputations would be in line. So yes, and then you sometimes blabble things, and basically do some huge blunders, right? But what I learned is, okay, I went down to rock bottom. Is okay to say I don't know. That sometimes I say, most of the time, I honestly say, "Man, I don't have a clue what's going on.
I think
There's
that
always, and then I have this like a quiz, the competitions, ask a friend. So that's the situation I'm in. Let's ask a specialist. Now, let's ask ChatGPT,
your new friend, but just watch out for the hallucinations, all right?
Yeah.
Make sure you know when it's making up stuff and things. But
I think that's that are people happier when you act like that. So it's basically, you can be true to yourself, but how did I true to myself? Because of that, the experience, that rough patch teach me and put me into the ground. I think there should be a thing that should put you into the ground, and also you have to identify what's the message is. That's why you have to be in tune with yourself and always ask the question, why did that happen? Why did that happen? So I do ask those questions now as well.
I from my little travels, not as expansive as yours, I do know that there's differences in how we perceive, cultural differences in terms of, saying you don't know and losing face and all that sort of stuff as well. So as we travel through the world, that will change drastically as well. But I wanted to just quickly ask, what's different from how you experienced identity and belonging before to what you actually feel now, especially around identity and fully accepting yourself, I guess.
So I think once you um, really identify your identity, how do I say it? That identify your identity, and I think then only you will get your happiness and contentment. So
It's like,
But do you think your identity evolves and changes and that's okay? Or is it?
yeah, you change all the time,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So I'm not the same person. I'm not the
mm.
same person today. I mean, tomorrow I'm a different person. So it's evolving. That's why the evolution. But you have a core self.
yeah.
Within that core self. I think there are subtle changes happens
Yeah.
subtle changes, then that's how you analyze. So I think the identity to me is a nucleus, the core self. So if when your core self is your identity, and the changes happen, then the changes basically then you have that though you have to argue, and you have to argue those changes with your core self. So do you do that? Yeah.
It's like it's part of your DNA. Your core self, or your identity is part of your DNA. So it becomes less about proving things and more about being to a certain extent. I think so.
So you've started now embracing the medicine of working with the elderly. What has this space working with the elderly, end of life, palliative care type processes? What do you notice with these elderly about their identity and how their roles have fallen away towards the end of life?
End of life, I think I see a lot at the moment. I would say, and like I do see only the aged care patients, right? They are in the care facilities, and they lost their identities basically. 95, their identity is not there, with the cognitive impairment or the health ailment, and then the physically we don't have ability. So that's a very sad place, to be honest. Just like then again, you question no more when you see those things, and you just
Mm.
question yourself as well. Do you wanna live that life? But then again, that it's not your choice. It is
Not yet. Hey,
no, no,
so
it's not, not your choice.
I, I was just listening to somebody who's written a book about longevity on the radio yesterday, and she was talking about the reason that we're living so long and that it's not a happy, like with aged care, is because our medical system is so good that it keeps us alive even,
Yeah,
you know,
a lot
when we
longer
might
than it.
not want to be alive,
Yeah,
so you lose your identity, you lose your belonging, you lose a lot of things in that. But that's probably that's a much bigger topic that we can't talk about around wealth, maybe. But it is part of wealth as well, having that quality of life, I would say.
yeah,
But yeah, so it's interesting to see, I guess, what matters to people when they don't have
yeah,
the connections and the titles and the achievements, and they're not
yeah, yeah.
central anymore. And I guess you
Mm,
get to see a lot
Because
of that.
well, in Aruna's facilities, he has some quite remarkable elderly people
Yeah.
who
Some are
have
fantastic, right?
lived, yeah,
yeah.
and the stories he shares about the remarkable
Mm,
lives they've experienced. But once it gets to that stage, it is something that I think is we all need to plan, and having wealth helps you having, in my view, and sorry to steal
Still the thunder.
anyone's thunder, but
No, it's,
you know,
but it's a conversation, right? So it's
I think it's
right, and
mainly the health. Health is very important.
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
It's very
yeah.
important. I think health and wealth, both, I would say you
They're
have
interconnected. Would you agree
Yeah.
to
we,
some level?
and I think from now on, I haven't started yet. I think I want to start now. Uh, about about what need. I mean, if all of a sudden something catastrophic happens, just like
Mm,
what what's my
mm,
what I want, what
mm.
I want.
Yeah.
Write it
And
down.
I think that is a really, really important thing, because when I think about health and wealth and longevity, I think about choice, right? About having the faculty to make that choice as well. I have a mother-in-law who's got Alzheimer's.
Yeah,
It's sad to see, but then I also have a mother who complains about all her aches and pains, but her brain is there. Like, she's 88, 89 this year, right? So you still, there's still so much life and things
yeah,
like that. But having the choice at that age, or earlier if you need to, and things, I think that becomes a big. Sorry, that wasn't my intention to steal the thunder. I just needed to get choice in there.
yeah. I
You
think
know,
Oh,
yeah,
but
choice
I
building
is
up for
think
choice.
very important.
building wealth around your life either empowers you to have choice or gives you the education and knowledge how to
Mm,
access choice.
mm, mm,
So
mm.
I
Yeah,
believe health and wealth are very interrelated. And
absolutely.
and I guess doctors play a big role
Mm,
in how end of life looks for people, and having that collaborative approach and being able to um, work with people who can understand that is the choices to make better choices towards the end of life is an aspect of having wealth.
I think it also brings it back to our listeners to a certain sense. So if
Yeah.
somebody who's listening who feels like they're outgrowing if we take it away from end of life, but sort of outgrowing your identity for whatever reason, your kids move out, or you suddenly have to look out after an older parent, or something else happen.
AI takes your job.
AI takes your job, or somebody who uses AI takes your job, or you know
Yeah.
but where would you invite them to start, Aruna? Where would if they're like about to outgrow their old identity or feel like they want something new, where would you invite them to start?
So for the elderly, you reckon? Yeah,
No.
No, for anybody. So there's a global war, but in a certain place at the moment. So we're all living in a world, an unstable world with a lot of uncertainty.
yeah,
So what I've been working really hard to do the last 6 months might not even be a market for,
yeah.
right? There's always a market for doctors, but there might not be a market for a coach and an advisor and a speaker, right? No
Yeah,
matter how so that might just fall away. And then I have to, and that's my identity. That's what I've built up over this time. So where do I start? Where to start looking for something else?
I think the simplicity is always, I think the happy place. If you, number one, you have to have is place to live, right? The place to live is very important, and then the rest of the thing is that um, if everything lost or there's not
Mm,
not much to do because of how the world's going or
mm,
whatever the thing. Basically, you concede yourself, and then you can't change those things, and and then uh, so basically you have to come back to your very
mm,
basic person. And the very basic person is just a basic requirement. You then the food to eat
mm,
and place to sleep. And other ones are your loved ones.
mm,
So basically if they're there, they're there. And stop feeling, sorry about the situation because
mm, mm,
at this you tried your best, right? So, and then it things didn't work out, and that's
mm.
not your problem. And so back to your basic, I think the back
Yeah.
my way
Ch-
is it's back to the basic. So And
I think it's you've probably covered it earlier, but you're talking about your core self and actually accepting yourself, because if you don't accept yourself, other people aren't going to accept you either, right? So then your identity is never gonna be there, right? So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So it is, I think, and then things always change. That's the thing. It's a time.
I
Uh,
agree. I would like to acknowledge, I think, the people that we have mainly spoken to in this as guests so far have been women. And I think it's really interesting to hear Aruna's perspective because the things that he needs are very different to what some of the other guests have, even though the same sort of things are popping
Same and
up.
different, right?
Right, but the way that it's expressed is really, really different. And I think what I've witnessed with Aruna going through hardship and facing the judgment, and then sitting in that uncomfortableness and then accepting the uncomfortableness, and then sort of giving that self-forgiveness. Sorry, I'm kind of summarizing Aruna's, because this is how
know
we
him too well.
operate.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
translating, I think,
Yeah.
because and the growth and the expansion in his life when he did that, it took like he said, there was about a year and a half of everything was shit. And it was one thing on top of the other, one thing on top of the other, one thing on top of the other. And then it got to a point where I think, from my observation, he accepted it, stood up, owned it. And to me, that's when things started to open up. And the self-judgment, the self-criticism, that noise stopped, which then allowed him to find, or sort of pick up on what it was he can do. And then he just did it and did it and did it. And Aruna's a hard worker. He's determined, and he's quite courageous. He'll do shit people won't do. And I think that in summer.
But yeah,
That's
and I know you started that. Sorry, I just want to juxtaposition it a little bit. You started it with saying most of the others are women. I think it's actually experience, because there are some of the women we've spoken with who've had real hardship as well, but it wasn't the topic of that thing. So I don't think it's necessarily a gendered thing, but it's a cultural, it's an experience. It's
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that
it's not necessarily gendered.
not a gender thing. I think that even that when the disaster struck, if I think clearly, I had a lot of things to be focused on. I had distance to be run and everything. But the thing is, when you're not accepting that what happened to you, if you can't come peace with yourself, you can't go to the next level and you can't start the next project. Then after that 1.5 years, as Steph said, so once I accepted everything, then I became I got rid of my doctor hat and completely and utterly, completely and utterly, I'm not a doctor, so I'm a businessman now. I'm the general manager and the CEO. And I basically, I produced, there are 3 years that the best, most profitable 3 years of our business history I created.
Because you could focus on that,
So I focused, basically, I didn't deviate about, okay. So I didn't, basically, I was able to create an iron curtain between that person and this person. There is an iron curtain. So basically, I didn't cross that. So I knew that iron curtain is there. I think I realized that it's for my own protection. That I created that. I created that. What is the iron curtain? Iron curtain is the resilience. So basically, resilience bisect the two people. So I forgot one person, then and get on with another person.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's how it is.
So we've been holding this question throughout the conversation. Who are you when you're no longer performing the version of you that kept everyone else comfortable?
Who am I? So I am just a normal average person who like gardening and look and and go to Bunnings and buy plants and put
Every day.
and
You can come and plant some here in my house.
looking after plant and looking at the the leaves to grow. I mean leaves growing, and then I like to grow. So
Yeah.
that's me.
That's good.
I can do it all day.
Yeah, perfect. Now, Aruna, if people are listening and they resonate with your approach to care and well-being, where can they connect with you to learn more?
They can connect via my website and via my the email address if they want to have a chat about I'm on to discuss any
Yeah.
challenging situations, and and give them my version of the advice, and so not necessarily the correct one or incorrect one either.
Okay.
So I
It's
think
correct for some.
yeah,
Yeah.
for some people, I think so I was thinking that that's what I'm good at giving advices. Yeah, that's what I
You're
You like
also
giving
good at
advice.
listening.
yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, we'll pop them in the show notes with where we publish anyway. So that's cool. And then we do ask this. We do ask this question of all our well, we try to ask it when it's in our script. What does it mean to live what does living unplugged mean to you?
Unplugged. Do you mean the you want the raw mean unplugged means not plugged?
Yeah. Yeah. What's
Huh?
your interpretation of unplugged?
Yeah.
A life unplugged.
To me, unplugged means that you live as your own individual. To me, the unplugged. That's my unplugged.
Cool. That's excellent.
Okay. So this has been, thank you, Aruna, for
Thank
coming
you.
and sharing
You're
your
welcome.
journey and story with us. This has been such a powerful conversation about identity, change, and what it means to meet yourself again. And Aruna reminds us that identity is not fixed and it evolves as we do, even though we have a core, and that belonging is not something that we have to earn through roles, performance, or being needed. It can be somewhere quieter and braver with self-acceptance. If this conversation has resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And as always, stay curious, stay connected, but keep living unplugged. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Aruna.
Aruna.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Vitalify Unplugged. If this episode sparked something in you, share it with a friend. Hit follow or subscribe. And don't forget, we love hearing from you. So send us a message and tell us what's lighting you up. See you in the next episode.